Hello. Can you all hear me? Okay, so hi. Those of you, if possible, hi. Those of you, if possible, can you I know you might not want to on the camera, okay, but at least you put picture or something. So at least. Okay, so good afternoon, good evening to everybody, and welcome to the spring class on the very first day. Some of you maybe we have met before, some of you want to straight away start with the session. Before we start, right, let's just confirm with the timetable because I do have confusion with what has been published in the social media and also the one that you are aware of. Okay. So, this is what I understand. So, let me just show you and glance through with you. And if any one of you have a different information, please let me know because I think there are some dates that I'm not sure how it happened. Yeah. They put in it's a Friday and then they put in as a Friday full day class. So I think that one all is a mistake. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go and look at we have 6 days of classes. Okay. Ideally, it's about 28 hours of classes at minimum. Let's hope we can do more session. Okay. And we'll be able to cover more. Okay. So now first day it is okay, yeah. Before that, let me introduce. Yeah, my name is Maria. So you can, like I told you, you can just call me MJ or whichever way that you feel comfortable. Okay, so yeah, comfortable, but yeah, whichever way. Yeah, okay, as long as you address me. Now we have 6 days of classes. Our first day is today. Okay, I plan it out in a manner that one week it's about 10 hours. Okay, so day one is today, 7:30 to 10:30. I think some of you maybe what does your understanding? And then the second day is on Saturday, which is 9 to 4. That is about 7 hours. Okay. So this two is 10 hours class at minimum we will have you. Okay. So then we have our third day, which is also same Wednesday, 3 hours. Then Saturday again 7 hours. Another Wednesday, May 22nd, is a night class, which is also again 3 hours. And we will have about 5 hours, or we'll see how much we can cover on the last day of the class. Okay. So, oh, this is other things. Yeah. Okay. So now, do you have any misunderstanding in terms of the dates? I only have class with you Wednesday and Saturday. I don't want to confuse anybody. So Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So all the 6 days is Wednesday and Saturday. So anyone have any questions or not? If you are okay with up to 11:30, we can have it up to 11:30, and Saturday we can have a shorter period. Yeah, but I don't know how comfortable you all are because I've done 4 hours in the night, and sometimes students seem to be tired by 11:30. So that's why I pushed it earlier, and Saturday 10 is better. No, no, at least 10:30. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, if you all are okay, then I'll just fix it as it is. Okay. So, not much of a difference. It's just night is shorter, Saturday is longer. Okay. Because normally Saturday people are on leave, they are more attentive actually compared to night after work. Yeah. Okay. So, anyone have anything to ask or not before we start? No. Okay. Okay, so now let me go through with you the Timba flex. I'm sure you have gone through some kind of briefing and all those things. Oh yeah, here they have the class schedule. Okay, so let me just run through what they have uploaded. Yeah. Uh, oh, is the dates I think didn't change. It's more of the timing only. Okay, so yeah, I think they put in timing wise, I think they this one is longer. Okay, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so approximately Saturday I'll do it longer instead of the days that what is this, the working days. Okay, so I don't want up to 11:30. It's not, it's too long. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go and look at the Timba Flex, yeah. Okay, how I will upload things. Okay, so I have here notes for spring class. Okay, so I have put in the notes. I'll let you know which one I will use. Okay, like let's say now I'm sharing screen, right? So I'll let you know which file I am going to use, and I will put in more files for your answers and so on. So I'm going to edit here. This is my initial notes. Okay, so I'm not going to change anything here, but after this, if I am uploading anything, I'll put there, this is what we have used in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, until up to day 6. Okay, so that's on the notes. And then I have here reference books. Okay, if you clicked it, you have your BPP exam kit. And then I have the hold on, yeah. I think this is Kaplan kit, and then this is the BPP revision kit. We have the 2 textbooks. It's for your reference. I'm not going to use the textbook, but I just upload it for your reference purpose. And for question, majority of the time I already have the question in the notes. If I don't have, I will use the revision kit. Okay, so that's about the things that I have uploaded so far. Now let's go and look at um, the notes that I want to use today. Okay, so there are 3 things that I want to use today. Okay, so number 1 is please download this introduction one. Okay, so this one. Second one that I want you to download will be this ACCA Code of Ethics. Okay, so second one, that's a summary. Third one is I want you to download this ethical and professional issue, and fraud, NOCLA, money laundering, this one. Okay, so in total, I'm going to use 4 files today. Okay, so please make sure you have those files. Hold on, yeah. I'll just transfer all this, which I'm going to use today in the class. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so now let's go and start with the session. Welcome, and hopefully I can help you as much as possible. And I know most of you are, most of you are working adults. So, and as it called, as it is quite spring, okay. So I am going to look at it as intensive course. So we will focus on what is the important areas for your exam. Okay, so this is my introduction. Now let's go and look at what I have, and let me explain to you the things that we will run through for the whole 6 days. Okay. I will give break in between. Okay, so every about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, I'll give you about 10 to 15 minutes break. Okay, so because it's 3 hours today, I'll give you one break only. Okay, so let's go and look at major area of the examination. Okay, so I have here 10 parts of 10 areas that is most important for your exam. Okay, so I put here business risk, audit risk, risk of material misstatement. Okay, so this one I want to do it in 2 days, so that's why I split it, but never mind. Now, third part of your major area for exam will be methods and evidence type of question. Principal audit procedures, sufficiency of evidence, procedure to completion, final review, meetings with management, communication with those charged with governance. Uh, Part 6 is implication for audit report, critical appraisal of your audit report, non-audit assignment, ethical professional issue, acceptance decision, fraud, NOCLA, money laundering, skepticism, and quality review. Okay, so we will cover all these areas in this 6 days. And I have an index for you to refer to. Okay, so this is just an analysis of past year paper, which you can have a reference to. Okay, now I have an index for you. This is all example. Hold on, yeah. Now you should refer to this index. The questions that I'm going to do in the class. Okay, so as of today, I am not going to straight away touch on audit risk. I am going to do a basic ones first. Okay, so today our priority is we want to focus on ethical and professional issue topic, part 7, and the part 8 of the syllabus, okay, which is fraud, NOCLA, money laundering, professional skepticism. Okay, so this is the two parts that I want to do today. Then the rest of it, by end of the class, I'll let you know what we will do on Saturday. Okay, so now let me go back to the top part here. Now, this is a past year question analysis. Okay, before that, you are aware, yeah, your exam is Monday. 5 days. Yeah, approximately it's about 25, 24 days left before your exam. Okay, so there's not a lot of time left. We have to work very seriously. Okay, so look at this. This is a past year question analysis. This is what we have up to now. Now, if you look at it, every question one is definitely going to be either risk of material misstatement, business risk, risk of material misstatement. You will have an audit procedure every sitting, okay, audit procedure, and you have some money laundering question, some outsourced service is service organization question, you have acceptance, no CLA, ethical issue, yeah. So these are the areas that they normally ask for your question one. Okay, so when you look at question 2, which is going to be uh which is going to be any part of the syllabus. Okay, so it could be non-audit services. In the past they have given us non-audit services sample, quality management, non-audit services, non-audit services, also on non-audit services. Okay, so there are a number of non-audit services being examined in the past. And then we have question 3, which is on finalization. Okay, so they are asking methods and evidence implication to audit report. Okay, evidence implication to audit report in critical appraisal. So you every time going to have some kind of audit report somehow. Okay, so now this is a picture of the recent papers, and I hope we can attempt all these questions at least before you go for your final exam. Okay, so even if we can't attempt the question in the class, at least we will try to give you answers so that you can try on your own. Okay, so now this is a very important information that you should be aware of. Okay, so people always say AAA paper is difficult, okay, because there's a lot of things to write, and it's challenging. Okay, but the way that ACCA has designed your paper, it is going to be very predictable. Okay, predictable means, right, examiner already mentioned question 1 is going to be a planning stage question. Okay, so planning stage question. Now, because it is a planning stage question, we can predict what can be examined. You can be asked on these areas, which is going to be business risk, audit risk. Okay, and you will have some audit procedure questions. You might have ethical and professional issues, which is around this area. And you might have evaluation of audit strategy of a component auditor. Okay, assess the reliability of component auditor, reliability of internal auditor expert, matters to consider if the client is using service organization and additional procedure for an initial engagement. So it is not going to go very far from this. They will only ask question 1 around this area. Okay, so make sure we have strategy for each of this. So then if you are strong enough in your question 1, which is very predictable, it's a safer way to pass the paper. Okay, so that's question 1. Now let's go and look at what we can be examined in question 2. Okay, so this is what we have in the past, March 2022 to June 2024. Okay, so now we have, okay, you can be examined on going concern methods and evidence, procedure to completion, basically all these finalization question. Okay, your question 2 or 3 can be a question on finalization. Okay, any of these areas can be examined in your question 2. All this, yeah. Okay, now your question 3 can be any part of the syllabus which includes non-audit services. Okay, in the past you have number of non-audit services there for you to see, and you also can get question on quality review, fraud, no-cla, money laundering, any other topic. So this one is a little bit difficult to say. Okay, because examiner don't tell us where they're going to test, except for that 2 question. Okay, so done with my introduction of the syllabus wise or your exam format. Do you have any question or not? Okay, if you don't have, right? Okay, so if you don't have, then I'll just move on. Yeah, okay, so this is my index, and these are the questions that I'm planning to do with you. Okay, some of the question we can get it from BPP, some of the question we might have to use the practice platform to do it, because the questions are not available in the BPP text, the revision kit. Okay, so I'll extract it and upload it for you so that we can do together in the class. Yeah, so now these are the questions. Now I just want to straight away, I just want you to see. Okay, basically this is your checklist. You can tick it once we have done. Okay, so look at part 7 of the topic, yeah, which is ethical professional issue acceptance decision. We have 3 questions to do, and we have some questions here, and we will go and look at fraud, no-cla, and money laundering. Yeah, okay, so that's your index for your reference purpose. These are some. Love red heart. Stay slowly. Hold on, yeah. Okay, so now I have some reference for you. This is, I'm not going to go through, but this is just for your reference purpose. Okay, what are the changes that they have made in recent times? This is your prerequisite for passing the AAA paper. Okay, so you have to know all your 35 IFRSs. Okay, you are expected to know all your 34 ISAs. Okay, you should know your ISQM 1, 2, and 36 requirement of your ACCA Code of Ethics. Okay, this is actually your syllabus coverage. You are expected to know all this. Yeah, okay, so when you are doing the question, I am hoping you will at least do practice level 1, practice level 2 and 3. Okay, what does it mean is you should do one question 3 times. Okay, so when you look at a question, you do first time, you might be getting a little bit, getting familiar with it. And then the second stage, you should be doing better. Okay, probably you want to do it after a 4 days period and redo the question after another 4 days. And you should be scoring around 80% if you had proper understanding. Okay, so this way you can actually call yourself as mastered the question well. Okay, so this is a prerequisite for you to pass the AAA paper. Okay, so I've done this paper quite a number of times now, so I hope you follow this, and we can safely say you can pass the paper. Okay, if you're doing enough practices on questions. Okay, so now these are all time management which you have to manage, yeah, during the exam. Now your question one, you should have, you should use only 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay, the moment you hit that, you please move on to question two, and then you move on after 45 minutes to question three. Okay, so I had a student. I just had like a post-mortem and things like that. This particular student, what he have done is he done just question one and two. Okay, question three, he say he had no idea what to write, so he just leave it blank. So now another student, yeah, was doing question one, question two, question three. Okay, but not to say the person has completed each of the question like 50 mark, 20 mark, 20 mark. No, they have at least attempted part of the question for each of it. Okay, or at least completed about 70% of each of the question. And this student who have not attempted question three has not gone through the, I mean, like, get through the paper. Yeah, because how you are playing around or you are gambling around 75% of the marks. So out of 75 you have to get 50. That is hard. Yeah, as compared to, if you look at the student who have attempted question one, two, three, probably they have done about 80% of the paper, or maybe 85% of the paper. The chances to pass is higher. Okay, so make sure you don't focus on one or two questions only. Please spread out your time. Make sure you attempt all the questions. Okay, so please manage the time well. And then this is a technique which I will teach you later. And from what I've learned is that you should start with question one. Okay, so all this I will repeat to you again when I'm doing question one. Now I want to straight away move on to your topic. Okay, so look at your notes that I have already uploaded. Okay, so open on ethical and professional issue. Okay, so this part here. Now, you would have already done ethics, isn't it? Ethics is not something new. Okay, you should be familiar with every single subject that we do these days. They ask us to do on, we do learn about ethics. Okay, so now for your AAA paper, okay, examiner will definitely give you ethics question, and you can expect a certain amount of percentage comes out from ethics. Okay, so you cannot have a paper without ethics at all. So definitely you will have certain percentage for ethics, and normally it can carry about, okay, approximately, depends on, yeah, whether it comes out in section B or not. So at least it is about 6 marks in question one, up to, if they examine you in section B, you probably can get up to maybe about 15%. Okay, so about this much of marks. So it is also a major part of your syllabus. Okay, so four things that you absolutely must know is that you must understand what is the rationale that they are asking you this type of question. Okay, obviously they want you. Okay, so what's the rationale of of behind this type of question? Okay, so examining you to identify. Okay, so want you to identify the threat in the scenario. Okay, want you to be able to, hold on, yeah, want you to be able to explain on your action. Okay, be it an action or maybe be it is a safeguard. Okay, so that's the ultimate aim of asking you ethics question. But the examiner is quite tricky. Yeah, they will not tell to you in the sentence it is ethical issue. They will always use this word. Okay, discuss on ethical and professional issue. I want you to highlight this separately. Okay, ethics maybe in one color and professional issue in a different color. Okay, so if they are asking you on ethics, this is going to be question related to your ACCA code. Okay, it is going to be relevant to ACCA code. Yeah. Now, if it is on a professional issue, okay, let me just explain on ethical issue first. Okay, ACCA code, it could be something got to do with your acceptance decision. Okay, is there any ethical issue when it comes to your acceptance? It could be on fraud. It could be on no-CLA issue that you have with regards to the ethical problem and money laundering. Okay, so your answers around your ethical issue is probably on this factors. Yeah. Now, if they are asking you on professional issue, okay, hold on, yeah, let's use different color. Now, if it is on professional, those that I have pointed out just now, yeah, it will be more to accounting issue. It will be more to reasonable care, and it could be on skepticism. Okay, so we have to read the scenarios and carefully analyze. Is it an ethical question or professional issue that they want us to address? Okay, how to find points in the exhibit. Now, if it's on ethical issue, yeah, you are going to identify items from your ACCA code. Okay, so ACCA code means it's going to give rise to a particular threat. Okay, so you have to explain what was the threat. You have to explain what is the severity of it, and also you have to explain what should be your action in terms of what will be your safeguard or your action. Okay, so the way that you have to go and answer your question for ethical issue will be threat, severity, your ACCA code, your safeguard, or your action. Okay, so you want to remember this format when it comes to ethical issue. Okay, now if you are talking about accounting issue means, right, they will have some problem in accounting like IFRS or something that they have not accounted for it correctly. Okay, so when it comes to an accounting issue, you have to discuss from the point that it is materiality of the issue. What does the accounting standard says about it? Okay, like the recognition and measurement. And R is what will be the risk. Risk that they have not accounted for this at the final audit, and it will be understatement, overstatement. Okay, so that is on accounting issue. Now, reasonable care is a situation where you are in a situation where you might have to face audit risk. You have issue with professional judgment. You have issue in terms of obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, so for reasonable care, the way that you have to explain it could be two ways. Yeah, okay, either you going to explain it from materiality, accounting standard, the risk and the impact wise, or you might have to explain it from what is the issue observation. Yeah, what is the comment, why you comment in that manner, and what will be your action now. Okay, so now, yes, I have put in acronym. Later when we are doing question, I'll explain to you again what does it all mean. Okay, so for now you have this acronym. Okay, so okay, ethical means I'm going to use TSASA. Accounting issue, I'm going to use MAR. Reasonable and care, I'm going to use OMARI or OCWN. Okay, so have these points first. For now, when we do question, you will have better perspective. Yeah. Now, when you talk about skepticism, each of the auditors supposed to exercise skepticism, but if they have any problem where they unable to exercise skepticism, you are going to discuss it from the commenting perspective. Okay, OCWN. Now you have to understand that ethical question can be examined on all these areas, and don't always think that, oh, I only have to look out for threat. because examiner don't word it that way. Examiner will say identify ethical and professional issue. So this part here is going to be professional issue. Okay, so now it's a very important fact that when you talk about ethics, you should know who is considered as public interest entity. Okay, so who's considered as public interest entity? Anybody? Who's considered as public interest entity?
Listed entity.
Yeah,
Listed entity.
yeah, listed entity. Okay, so you have the listed entity. Okay, so this is the common one. Yeah, people think it is only listed entity, but actually it's not listed only. Yeah, what else do we have? Correct. Yeah, listed is correct. Thank you for answering. But apart from this, what else is public interest entity? Yeah, yes, insurance company. Okay. Financial institution. Yes, this is okay. Financial institution. Yes, public utility. Okay. P is okay. One more. One more is M. M is companies which has many share stakeholders. Okay, so you want to remember because in your question they will mention to you whether it is PIE or non-PIE. Because when you talk about your ethics, some of your safeguards or some of your ACCA codes split it. Yeah, if it's a PIE, you have a different rules. If it's a non-PIE, you have a different rules. Okay, so make sure you know who is PIE, who is non-PIE, and the way that you want to remember PIE is flip. Okay, so financial institution, listed entity, insurance company, many stakeholders, public utilities, yeah, all these are considered as public interest entity. Okay, so let me go to the next page. Yeah, now, when you are answering your ethical question, let's focus on how we want to answer ethical question. Okay. So you have to identify what will be the threat. You have to identify how severe is it. Okay. The severity is very much depends on whether it is PIE or non-PIE and so on. Okay. And what is the safeguard and action? Okay. So your safeguard is majority of the time are these items. Okay, using a non-audit team members to perform the service, partner rotation when the time limit is up. So how often do we need to rotate our partners? After how many years?
7.
Yes, up after the 7 years. Okay, and then we have to replace the partner when they no longer are independent, restructure the role of audit team members when we have too much of a familiarity threat or self-interest threat in the audit team member. Okay, so these are some example of safeguards that you have to explain. Yeah, and then if let's say you have no safeguard, you have no choice, that you only have actions. Okay, so your action can be split into two. If your audit is not over yet, you can take actions, for example, by informing those charged with government. You can have a decision that you want to have a document where you want to ask the management to uh, acknowledge their position. Okay, so they must be an informed management. They should the one who admit, they will take decision. We are just providing some advice or guidance on it. Okay, so document existence of informed management aware about the fact that they are the one who takes the role in making decision. Okay, so not delegating it to partners. Okay, now you can book a engagement quality reviewer. You have a pre or post issuance review. You can decline the client's request. You can resign from the engagement. All these action only apply if the audit is not over. Okay, but if the audit is over already, you can't do any of this. You only left with cold review. Okay, so make sure when you are reading the case study, you identify whether the audit is already over or not over. yet sign off. Okay, so I'll make sure you look at those things. Yeah, now let's just quickly look at how you will get marked. Okay, so now if it is on ethical issue, you will need to explain your threat, right? So when you explain the threat, sorry, yeah, my pen. Okay, so threat, you will get 1 mark. Okay, but explain it, yeah. And then for your severity, and what does your ACCA code says? Okay, so this is on severity, and this is on what does the ACCA code says. Okay, so this one here, you will need to explain it also. You can get 1 mark. And when you have every single safeguard, or you mention any suitable action, you will get 1 mark each. Okay, so how we want to earn professional skill marks as we earn the technical point. Okay, so when you identify the right threat, okay, you should be able to have analysis and evaluation mark. Okay, when you can give a suitable recommendation, which is in the form of safeguard or action, you should be earn another mark in professional skill side. Okay, so when you exercise professional judgment in terms of the severity of the issue, you can get another 1 mark for professional skill marks. Okay, application of your judgment on the request made by the client is also another 1 mark. Okay, so if you are using basically this format, you can earn professional mark and technical mark at the same time. Okay, so this is on ethical issue. Now let's move on to the questions. Okay, so hold on, yeah. This is later. I'll come back to the acceptance part. Okay, now here, topics that might appear in ethical issue. Yeah, I've already explained. You can get ACC code question, fraud, no CLA, money laundering, and acceptance question. Okay, so it is so often every sitting you get exempted. Okay, so now this is a quick revision that we will do. Okay, now I have a quick one. Yeah, this is going to be a quick revision for you on ACCA code. Okay, now you notice that there is a notes for you. Hold on, yeah, there is a notes from for ACCA code. Okay, so I want you to open that. If you cannot remember, okay, then you're going to tick together with me. Okay, so anybody, are you all okay so far? Am I going too fast or it is okay?
Okay.
Okay, okay. So you understand this items all right. You have already done some kind of prior studies before this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now let's go and look at, I've already mentioned to you, there are 36 ethical code that you must know. Okay, so let's go and look at lowballing. Okay, so lowballing is basically you are going to go and charge the client at a lower fee. Okay, so charge the client for a lower fee because you want to win the tender. So what type of threat will it give rise to? Let's assume,
Self-interest.
yes, this is self-interest, this is self-review. Okay, so lowballing is going to give rise to self-interest. Okay, I have the notes. Yeah, in case if you can't look at it, I mean you can't remember, you please refer to the notes. Okay, undue dependence. Undue dependence is a situation where you are depending too much from one particular client. Okay, which is more than
Self-interest
15
also.
create. If you have undue dependence on one particular client.
Self-interest.
Yeah, again, self-interest, but it was also going to give a intimidation threat.
Intimidation.
Contingency fee means what? Yeah, they are telling to you that I am going to pay you based on maybe some kind of percentage. Your audit fee is going to be based on it create. Yeah.
Same self-interest, intimidation.
Yeah. Okay. Contingency fee will create self interest actually. Okay. Not so much on intimidation. Yeah. Okay. Undue dependence. Yes. If you have overdue fee, which means you haven't collect fee from them. Okay. So again, this is going to create a self interest threat and also intimidation threat. Okay, if you have overdue fee, which means you have already done your audit and they still haven't pay you. Okay, so overdue fee is going to be self-interest and intimidation threat. Okay, loan to client. Can we give loan to client or not? Are we allowed to give loan to client?
No.
Now we can't give. Okay, so if we give loan, yes, we can't give. Yeah. Okay, so now if we give loan to client, what type of threat will it create? If we give, we might not modify the audit report in fear that they will not repay us back. Okay, so again,
Self-interest.
yeah, again, self-interest only. Okay, now loan from client, can I take loan from client? Also
Cannot.
cannot, unless the client is a bank. Unless the client is bank and they give us a what is this, the interest rate which is applicable to everybody, like a normal interest rate. Yeah, normal term. Okay, so in that case, again, it is going to be self-interest threat if we take loan from client. Okay, so can we have a business relationship with client or not? Can we do business with client? Yeah. Business relationship, if it is significant, we cannot have business relationship with client. Okay, unless it is insignificant. Business relationship with client will also create self-interest threat. Okay, can we have shares in client? What type of threat will it create?
Self-interest.
Yes, again, it is going to be self-interest. Personal relationship. Okay, now let me just tell to you how you want to remember, yeah, because in exam we have so many problems and so many issues that we will come across. So remember, if it is got to do with money, okay, if it's got to do with money, and if it's got to do with something beneficial for the firm, okay, it's always going to be self-interest or the individual. Significance in the business relationship, like for example, right, you and your another party, okay, so another is going to be material to you, which means it's going to contribute major part of your revenue to the firm. Okay, or let's say the business relationship is like a joint venture kind of situation. Okay, so you are 50% of the business and the client is 50% of the business, so which means it's a big one. Now, insignificant business relationship means, right? I think you would have seen like small client audit firm and Maybank or something like that. They team up, do some recruitment, like small one, yeah, insignificant. Even if this business doesn't go well or the joint venture didn't work, also it's not going to impact the revenue so much. Then it is insignificant. Have you seen like they got a program last time, Maybank, and then the audit firm, and then another corporate company. They team up. They provide like apprentice um, kind of a program, like those type, yeah. And then maybe they team up to do some sports events, those type are insignificant. It doesn't contribute much to their revenue. But if it's going to major contribution to the revenue, then that's a significant business relationship. Okay, Kenna.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go and look at personal relationship. If you have personal relationship, yeah, you notice, yeah, all these are something got to do with money. Okay, so all this got to do with money, and it is going to be self-interest. Okay, now personal relationship. What type of threat will it give rise to?
Familiarity.
Yes, If you have relationship, most of the time it is going to be familiarity. Okay. So what you want to remember about familiarity is it's going to give rise to, if it's going to rise to a familiarity threat when you have close and long relationship. Okay, which means it's a long-term relationship that you already built, or it is because you are close relationship like family members, yeah, personal relationship. If you have long association without having a rotation, it means you have long association, right? Then it is going to be familiarity threat. Client joining the firm, what type of threat will it create?
Familiarity.
Yes, again, this is going to be familiarity because when you join the firm, probably when you go back to audit the client, your friends are there. Okay, familiarity. If you have firm staff planning to join the client, planning means what type of threat will it be?
Self-interest.
Yes, correct. If it is planning, right, haven't happened, then it is going to be self-interest. Okay. Now, if the firm staff already joined the client, I no longer have the interest. Yeah. Right now, it will become familiarity threat already. Okay. So now appointment as a director, appointment as company secretary. All this is going to give rise to what type of threat? The appointment is going to be beneficial for me, isn't it? If you have any appointment, correct?
Self-interest.
Yes, again, yeah, it is going to give rise to self.
Familiarity and
Yeah.
self-interest.
Yes. If you are working with them for too long, okay, then it is going to be it is going to be a self-interest. Yeah, I mean, but mostly it will be more of self-interest. Okay. Now, if you are appointed as company secretary, it's also self-interest. Okay. Now, gift from client. This one you have to look at it from two perspectives. If they are offering you, if it's an offer, then it will be self-interest. If you have already received, okay, then it will be familiarity threat because you feel like you owe them. Okay, so pressure to reduce fee.
Intimidation.
Yes. Okay, so this one will be, where is this? I. Okay, so pressure to reduce fee is intimidation. Threat of removal, again, it is intimidation. Removal, yeah, intimidation. Threat of legal action is also intimidation. Okay, acting as advocate is going to be
Advocacy.
what? Yeah, yeah, advocacy. If you go and advocate for them, yeah. Okay, now we're going to look at non-audit services. Okay, so if you are providing corporate finance services, what can happen? Yeah, corporate finance services. For example,
Self.
yeah,
Mm,
what type? Yeah, it's going to
self-interest.
be, yes, you go and help them on planning their finances. Okay, so might be self-review threat and it also can give rise to advocacy threat. Okay, so if you're
Mm.
providing some kind of technical assistance, what will be the threat? Technical assistance, yeah. Okay, so technical assistance has no threat actually. Okay, because technical assistant is just like you don't understand about IFRS, they just give you guidance on how to use IFRS, just like that. Okay, preparation of accounting records. If you prepare
Uh,
payroll, yeah,
Self-review, and then the M management, assume management role.
yes, correct.
What is M
Okay,
actually?
yeah, management decision threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now the preparation of accounting record, all this, yeah, is going to give rise to self review threat. Okay. So you might be you might go back and review the things that you have done previously. Okay. So valuation services is also going to be self review threat. You filing up on tax return is actually no threat. Okay. So
Except for
calculation,
PLC, right?
yeah, correct.
Except for public listed, right? If for public
It,
listed, we cannot.
if we are filing up tax return means, right, we just like they have already done all the calculation. We just take the figures, we just key in into the system, just like how we submit our own tax return.
Okay.
So yeah, so we don't really do any decision making. We don't have any threat actually. So even if it's public listed, we still can do the filing up. Filing up, just key in on.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So calculation of current and deferred tax. This one is we doing some amount of calculation. Then this is going to be self review thread. Okay. So if you are doing some tax planning for them, it's also again self review and advocacy track. Okay, so a little bit more. I hope others are following through. Okay, so assisting in a tax dispute. Okay, so let's say the client is going through some kind of dispute with the authorities or tax authorities. Yeah, and then we go and assist them to solve those dispute. Then we will have advocacy track because we seem to be representing them. Okay, and we might have self-review thread because we will come back and audit those own advisors also. Okay, so temporary staff assignment, what type of thread will it give rise to? If I send my audit staff to go and work in the client's office, what will happen? Cannot remember. Now, if we go and ask them to work, yeah, self-review thread. Yes, this client comeback might be doing, this staff could have done the work that he's going to audit on his own. Okay, so self-review thread. And another one, yes, correct, yeah, self-review. Another one is if you work too long with client, he might create familiarity thread, build relationship already. Okay, so recruitment of directors, okay, prohibited. Yeah, we cannot do because it will be self-interest threat. Internal audit outsourcing. Okay, so can we provide internal audit services? Are we going
Can
to
different
audit?
team.
Yes, yeah, because we are going to audit the internal control also, right? If we go and provide internal audit services, it means we will come back and
Self review.
review those internal audit. So in that case, we might not be so critical about the way that we want to. We might not be so skeptical about the things that are being designed because we are the one who designed it. Okay, so designing and implementing IT system will give rise to what?
Self review.
Yes, again, self-review. It might also give you
Management.
a self-interest, yeah,
Self
in a
interest.
way, because of we might not highlight the deficiency in it. Yeah. Okay. And when you design, this is also going to give rise to management decision. Okay. So what is the second opinion? Yeah. Can we give a second opinion? What is second opinion?
Second opinion on what, yeah?
Like this, yeah, second opinion means, right, now this is sorry, PwC is probably the current client, current auditor. Then we have KPMG. Okay, so we have this auditor, I'm sorry, this is the audit firm. We have this client A. Okay, they are persuading PwC, assuming, okay, so we're telling them, no, no, I should use revaluation model. External auditor. So external auditor don't try to hunt for other auditors to agree with them. So this process is, we call it as opinion shopping. Okay, in a way we call it as a second opinion. Okay, so if let's say I manage to get KPMG to give me second opinion, what will be KPMG's threat?
Self interest.
Uh, um, Now, KPMG, if they have already given second opinion, for KPMG, it will be, for PwC, it will be intimidation. Okay, because feeling intimidated, someone else is supporting the client. But for KPMG, it is a threat to their professional, yeah, it's a self-interest, but it is threat to their professional competence. Okay, so why? Because they might not have all the information that is required for them to give the opinion, but they go and give an opinion. Obviously, the external auditor will be more familiar with the matter, yeah. But KPMG might have issue in terms of unable to obtain all the information, but go and provide. It's a threat to their professional competence. Okay, so threat to professional competence is actually self-interest. Okay, now second opinion also create intimidation threat to this one. I write it, yeah. PwC. This one is for KPMG. Okay, so confidentiality. If I am disclosing something that is this one is not about so much of threat, yeah. Okay, so when we talk about confidentiality, are we allowed to disclose the information out? Can we go and disclose? We
Unless
cannot
required
disclose.
by
Yeah,
legal, right?
yes, unless it is required for two reasons. Okay, so what is the reason? Yeah, one is
Court decision.
yes. Okay, so even that is the requirement of required by the law. Okay, another one is not required by the law. Okay, so if it's required by the law, um you don't even need to get the client's consent. You have to disclose it because they might use those things in the court case. Okay, it might be required by the law because of government agencies wants it. You have to disclose. Okay, now not required by law. It's probably it is your public duty. Okay, so because it's going to affect the public interest, and it could be due to you want to protect, okay, the firm interest. Okay, so they went to the court case and then they want to actually tarnish your reputation. You can protect yourself, okay, by disclosing the information. So that is on confidentiality. We have conflict of interest between firm and client. We also have conflict of interest between client and client. So when we do questions on conflict of interest, we'll get back to that. Yeah, so generally you have this 36, and all this 36 you have to, like, know what will be the threat. So then you can do it quite fast in the exam. Okay, Ken,
Okay.
are you all okay so far? Ken, so you have to, like, every few days you try to do this checklist and see whether you remember and able to explain or not. Okay, so that is on ACCA code. Please do the revision with the notes that has been uploaded. So you make a reference to it and obtain understanding on the ACCA code of ethics. Yeah. Okay, I have a little bit of notes to cover before I actually get into the questions. Okay, now if it's a familiarity threat, the way that I want you to remember to explain your threat is, yeah, familiarity threat is going to be due to relationship with client, audit staff joining the client, long association, client staff joining the firm, temporary assignment, all this, yeah, when you build relationship already or you already have a relationship, or after receiving a valuable gift. So when you are explaining the matter, right, you should explain that the audit team member might be sympathetic of the audit staff, or you might say that they will be too accepting of the client work. Okay, so these are some keywords uh, that you can use, and it's easy to explain. Okay, now if you have received the valuable gift, right, you might be under pressure to return a favor. Okay, so that's on familiarity threat. Now let's go and see advocacy threat. What type of issues? When you advocate for client, meet up with banker, tax dispute. Okay, so you want to say that in that the audit firm might promote clients' interests, okay, to the point where the objectivity may be compromised. If it's a self-review, so all these are going to be self-review threat, audit, client staff joining the firm, non-audit services, tax planning, assisting in tax dispute, temporary assignment, internal audit outsourcing, designing IT system, assurance on forecast. All this is going to give rise to self-review threat. Yeah. So the way that you want to explain is you are unlikely to be critical when later you are auditing it. Okay, or you place too much of reliance on the work done. Okay, so same thing, yeah, you might not be critical, you are unlikely to question that. So these are the self-review ones. Intimidation is example, threat of removal. You want to say you might be exerted through pressure to which may influence your objectivity. Okay, so self-interest, there is a number of items here. Explain that you are unlikely to qualify the audit report, okay, because of the fear that you will not get appointed, fear that you will not be able to recover the unpaid fees, fear that you will not recover the loan. So this sentence can be standardized when you are answering. Okay, so now let's go and look at one last one, management decision threat. Okay, so what is a management decision threat? You must remember that you can never take decision on behalf of the client. If you do that, you will come back and be you can't take the management role, yeah, basically, okay, because if you do that, then you are unlikely, okay, unlikely the allowing the client to make the informed decision, and you might be too accepting, or you will not be able to question, okay, because you are the one who give the solution for them. Okay, so now let's go and look at um uh a question here. Okay, hold on, yeah, hold on, yeah. So there is acceptance factors all the way here. Okay. So I might want to go through the acceptance before we go and look into the pick. Okay. So very quickly. Now, if you want to make decision, yeah, to accept a job or not. Okay. So what are the factors that you will this is on acceptance, yeah. So what are the factors that you will use to decide whether you want to accept a particular engagement or not? What are the things that you will focus on?
Resources of the firm.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, let me just see what are the things that you all resources. Okay. So what else? Whether the firm has resources or not. So what else?
Competence.
Yes. Do we have the competence or not? Okay. So no point that I go and accept and then blur case like that. Yeah. Unable to do the work. What else that we will look at when we want to obtain or we want to do the work?
Has relevant competence lah tu kan. Sekejap.
Yeah. This is their past experience also here. Okay. So we also want to see whether, yes,
Confirm on the
whether,
scope.
yeah,
Ethical
you
issues.
are saying like the scope. Okay. So whether you are familiar with the scope or you can manage the scope or not, right? Okay. So ethically, are we allowed to do the work? Are we independent to take up the job? Yeah. Okay. So yes, you might also want to see whether it is profitable for you. Yeah, which is commercial consideration. Okay, wait, yeah, let's see what else that you have mentioned. Legal consideration, yes. Is it legal for us to accept this job? Okay, so all this is right. So now let's go and look at how we want to remember it easily. Okay, but before that, what is the rationale behind this type of question? Okay, so basically, the reason why examiner want to test you on acceptance is there will be a new client. Okay, so there will be a new client, or it might be a new engagement. Yeah. Okay, so new client which is going to bring in, okay, bring in benefit for the firm. Okay, so you're going to get benefit out of it. Okay, so for example, you are going to get as an auditor the fees and also exposure. You're going to get exposure. Now with that, the firm also, okay, will be worried. Yeah. Okay. Would you be worried that you get a bad boss? Okay,
Of
even
course.
though it's a high paying job, yeah, you will be worried, how is this boss going to treat me, right? Similarly, the firm will be worried um about taking a wrong client. Okay, so these are the two rationale that they want you to think about. Requirement of the question, it will be made clear that it is an acceptance question. Okay, so they won't make you feel confused about deciding it. Yeah, so client, this is on section A. If it's an acceptance question in section A, if it is on section B, right, they will ask you, sorry, hold on. Yeah, this is on section sorry. Okay, so the client make a request for additional service. Additional service means it will be in section A. Okay, why? Section A, you are already an auditor, so they might ask you to consider about additional service. But if it's in a section B question, it might be totally a new client that is requesting you to provide a service. Okay, so now it can be examined in section A or B. Yeah, now let's go and see how you want to answer your question. Okay, so if it is an audit question, you want to remember CCEIP. Okay, so what is a CCEIP means? You will need to consider on the competence, you will need to consider on the capabilities. Okay, you will need to look into the ethical factor. I is integrity and ethical value of the client. And you might want to also see the money wise, yeah, commercial consideration and also the legal consideration. Okay. So apart from all this CCEIP, right? So, yeah,
Where's P? CCO. Okay.
an audit is a precondition. Okay, so now let me just go through. If it is on capabilities, there are three things that you will need to consider. Okay, the size of the client, is it something that you can manage? Okay, so the availability of your staff currently. Okay, and also can you meet the deadline? Okay, so these are the three things. The way that you want to remember this is SAD. Okay, so competence, capabilities, remember set. Okay, so ethical factors, right? You might want to look into, is there any conflict of interest if I take this job? Is there any issue to my objectivity? Okay, any threat on? Now, is there any professional clearance that I need to obtain? If it's a new client, if it's a client that you are first time audit, sorry, if it's a non-audit services that you are providing for a client, right? You want to ask why you are not asking your previous auditor, or why you're not asking your auditor to do it. Okay, so if it's a new client, you want to obtain professional clearance from the previous auditor or the current auditor. Yeah, okay, so integrity and ethical values of the client, you want to ask, do they have any problem with the authority? Okay, so integrity of the client, do they have any problem with authority or not? Okay, because if they do, then probably I don't want to get involved in this type of client. Yeah, because it will cause will have butterfly effect on my own job later. Okay, so you also want to ask the reason. Okay, so what is the reason your own auditor is not involved? Okay, and then you want to obtain, or you want to perform client due diligence. Okay, so when you do client due diligence, you will identify the directors. You want to know who are these directors. Like one MDB director is also that client's director. You don't want to take up the job. Yeah. You want to identify who are the owners of the company and also what is the source of cash flow. Okay. How they are funding their business. Is it through a loan or they are funding through a share capital? Okay, so you want to know what is the source of funding that they have. So all these will tell to you what type of client is this, what is the level of integrity of this client. Okay, so when you talk about acceptance of an audit work, remember CCEIP. Okay, so remember CCEINP is for your precondition. For audit, you will look at precondition. Okay, what is the precondition? Yeah, we have three, isn't it? Who remember what are the three preconditions? It is a very easy question, yeah. What is a precondition that we should obtain before we move on to accept a job, audit job? Hmm? Yes. No. Okay, we should obtain. Yeah. Yes, correct. Okay, so the auditor should have the full access. Okay, so full access to document, to the person, to the for the information. Yes, correct. What else? The management must, okay, acknowledge that it is their responsibility to prepare IFRS, okay, or financial reporting framework, okay, applicable financial reporting framework. And then the management should also acknowledge their responsibility in terms of designing, implementing.
Kena control.
Yes, correct. Okay. And also monitoring, okay, the internal control. So we have to get all this done, then only we can accept it. Okay. So you remember, yeah, capabilities, competence, your ethical factors, and also integrity of the client. Okay. So this one is you look into the skills. This one is you look at SAT, which is the size, availability of staff, the deadline. Ethics is you look at conflict of interest. Is there any issues to objectivity? Any professional clearance that need to be obtained? Integrity, remember you want to look into whether they have any problem with authority. Is there any reason for them to change the auditor? Perform client due diligence, whereby you want to identify the ownership, identify the directors, owners, and also source of cash flow. Okay, so this is what you want to put in for acceptance questions. Okay, now very quickly, for non-audit services, if it is a non-audit services for audit client, I will only look at CCE. I will not look at I, because integrity of the client I already evaluated when it is my audit client. If non-audit services for non-audit client, then I will look at CCEI. If it is a PFI question, right, I have additional three, I'm sorry, additional three items that I will need to consider, which is I will discuss when I do the non-audit services. Okay, so this one is separately we will discuss. Okay, so now I want to do a question. We'll do a question, then I'll give you a break. Okay, now look at the first question that we have. Are you all okay? Not so far? Is it okay? Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. Okay, now let's go and look at the very first question. Okay, so this is Benko. Okay, so Benko is a past year question. Okay, so now let's go and look at the requirement first. Yeah, comment on ethical and professional issue raised. Okay, so the moment you see this word, you know ethical is you want to use the thread to explain and so on, and you have professional issues, which could be any of the accounting issues, reasonable care, and also your skepticism. Okay, and we are required to recommend any action which should be taken in respect of the request from the management team. Okay, so now let's go and see what is the request. Okay, so you are a manager in one of the assurance department of Banco, okay, a large firm of chartered certified accountant. Okay, so you are a manager. Okay, so you are currently assigned to a due diligence engagement. Okay, so I'm sure you have already learned about due diligence. Yeah, due diligence is you have your company investor trying to buy over a target company, and you are providing them some services to value this target company. Okay, so now you are currently assigned to do a due diligence engagement for one of your firm's audit client, which is Rinco. Okay, an online clothing store. The audit of Rinco is conducted by a team from a different department, and you have never been involved in the audit of the client. Okay, so now you have to understand, yeah, you are currently okay like this. Okay, so you are currently assigned to okay, so you have this Rinco. Okay, so Rinco is the investor. Okay, so investor is asking you for a due diligence service, and the investor here is our audit client, and the audit is done separately by someone else. Okay, so now let's go and look at next one. The engagement is to conduct financial and operational due diligence review of Stitchco. Okay, so Rinco is planning to buy over Stitch okay, a company which have been identified as a potential acquisition target by Rin Co. due to the synergy offered and the potential to expand the existing production facility. Okay, so the reason they want to buy this is because there is a synergy offered and there is a potential to expand. Yeah, okay. So as part of the due diligence review, you have been asked to provide a valuation of Stitch Co's asset and liability and analyze the company's operating profit forecast. Okay, so that's part of due diligence. Yeah, this will assist Rinco in determining appropriate purchase price for Stitch Co. Okay, so up to this point, it is a clear cut due diligence. Okay, so a due diligence service, which is you have R trying to buy over S, and R is actually your audit client. Okay, Stitch, they have not mentioned about it. Okay, so maybe it is not a audit client. Okay, so the management team of Rinco has approached Banco to ask whether representative of the firm would be available to attend a meeting with the company banker. Okay, so they are asking you whether you are available to attend meeting with the company banker. So the moment you see this is the obvious answer. What will be your discussion? Are you able to go and attend meeting with the company banker?
No advocacy track.
Yeah, it will give rise to advocacy threat. Okay, but can we attend from the due diligence perspective? As an auditor, yes, you cannot. But can we attend from the due diligence perspective? You know, I am providing due diligence, isn't it? Can.
Can, but you have to make it clear that you are there not as a representative.
Yes, correct. Okay. So you have to make it clear to the banker saying that I can only answer you question with regards to the due diligence service that I've provided, but I cannot give you an answer as to like, whether this is a suitable target or not, whether it's going to be profitable. Yeah, all this I cannot give. I can only give you idea about my outcome of my due diligence. So we have to make it very clear to the banker so we can reduce the advocacy threat. Okay, so we should discuss the point. Yeah, okay, so now we cannot just straight away say that it is going to definitely be prohibited. Okay, so now who they are hoping will finance the acquisition of Stitchco to support the management team in conveying the suitability of acquisition of Stitchco. Okay, for the meeting, the bank requires the most up to date interim account. Okay, so bank is always asking us the most up to date interim account. Okay, so interim account of Rinco with accompanying auditor independent interim review report. Okay, so now apart from we are providing due diligence, yeah, now Rin is going to ask us to also do a interim review. Okay, so look at it this, yeah. So for the meeting, the bank requires the up-to-date interim count of Rinco with accompanying auditor's independent interim report. Okay, so your firm is due to complete, yeah, we have already accepted. We are due to complete the interim report shortly, and the management team has requested them to for the review to be completed quickly so that it does not hold up the negotiation with the bank. Okay, so asking us to do the work quickly. Ethical threat or not?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, isn't
intimidation
it?
threat.
Yes, this one is intimidation threat already. Yeah, so you see, stating that if it doesn't, it may affect the outcome of the next year audit tender. So this is intimidation threat already. Okay, so what will you do? Like, as in your action, will you do that? Because normally, if people is intimidating, we will tell, okay, we will not accept the job and we will resign. But you are already halfway doing it. What will you do? Because we have to give an answer that is logic, yeah. Then only we can get professional skill marks also. Do we give? Do we give? I mean, like we try to comply with the request, or we'll try to do something else. Yeah, we can communicate the matter with those charged with governance. We can also say that we might try to use more staff. We'll try to negotiate with them for a little extension. Okay, so something like that, then straight away say that you want to withdraw. Okay, so now the obvious point that we have noticed is the two points, yeah. Okay, but we have 8 marks to score. Okay, so is there any other professional issues that you have come across? Is there any professional issue that you think that we can discuss? Yeah, anybody? Because the two that we discussed just now is more of it's more of what is this ethical issue. Okay, so is there any other points that we can discuss? Is it any accounting issue that we come across? Don't think any accounting issue, isn't it? There's no IFRS or anything that is mentioned. So then we think of, is there any reasonable care or due care issue that we come across? Do we have?
The pre-acceptance.
Yeah, yeah, acceptance or fee acceptance. You mean? Yeah, we taking too many jobs with them. Yes, we can discuss from that point of view also. Like we are doing audit, we are doing also their due diligence, we are also doing. Are you referring to that?
Yes.
Okay. So now, yeah, we can discuss from that point of view also. Okay. And the fact that they ask us to do quickly, I think that one is more of a advocacy, intimidation threat already. Okay, one more thing. You want to look into the due diligence part. Okay, so when we are providing due diligence services, right, what type of threat will it give rise to? If we are providing due diligence, this one is, isn't it? Assuming in the following year, this two become RNS already, group of companies. Okay, I am still the auditor. Okay, what type of threat will it create? Self-review threat. Yes. Okay, because the following year I have done the valuation, isn't it? So in this account, there will be goodwill, there will be some valuation figures which I have prepared. So there is a tendency for me to have self-review threat. Okay. Now, even though they mention that it is in, you have never been involved in audit. Okay. So very important, you have to know that if we mention it at self-review, okay, self-review means it is not your own work only. It is also mean your work of colleague. Okay, your own work of your firm staff. Okay, the firm, yeah. It also going to give rise to self-review. Okay, so now let's go and answer this quickly because we have so many things to do. Yeah, it's already 9 o'clock so fast. Okay, so now let's go and answer this question. There is 8 marks. Let's see how we should be scoring the best. Okay, so this is Ben Co question. Okay, so Ben and Co. Okay, so I don't really see any professional issues there. It's all on ethical issues. Okay, now first of all, let's go and discuss the due diligence. Okay, so hold on, yeah. Turn my PC for a while. Okay, so now first one is the point that they are providing the due diligence. Okay, so due diligence to determine the purchase price for stitch. Okay, so now the way that I want you to present the answer. Okay, so now I want to put it in table just for you to understand. Yeah, exam, please don't do this. Okay, so remember the way that you want to answer will be threat, severity, and what does the ACCA code says, and safeguard or action. Okay, so let's go and discuss about the threat. The fact that I provide due diligence service, it could give rise to self-review threat. Okay, so we want to say the service, you type together, yeah. Okay, the service may give rise to self-review threat. Okay, so review threat is not enough. You identifying only, you not explaining. You have to explain it. So you have to say in that RIN audit team, okay, unlikely to be critical when auditing RIN financial statement. Okay, so financial statement which include the investment in stitch out spell. Okay, stitch because the due diligence team would have carried out the valuation of okay, assets and liabilities okay, used in the valuation of the investment. Okay, so this is for you to explain the threat and why you think this will give rise to the threat. Okay, so now next one, what does the severity of the threat? Now, as of this point, yeah, we can't see how big is the investment, how severe, how big is the service. So I have nothing to speak on severity. Now, most of the time they will mention about some figures and mention about how big, how significant is the matter. So in this case, there is no indication of that. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about severity or anything got to do with ACCA code. I want to straight away discuss about my safeguard. Okay. So the firm must be careful not to assume management responsibility. Responsibilities. Okay. So next is to avoid that, yeah, to explain to Rin, okay, that the purchase price is a matter that Rin will need to negotiate. Okay, so negotiate with the owners of Stitch. Okay, and the firm will not be involved in the matter. Okay, so basically, I am trying to reduce my self review threat because I want to tell them, you decide, not my decision, it was your decision. Okay, so now next one is we also want to have obtain. Okay, so to obtain written representation. Okay, written representation from RIN management. Okay, they will be responsible for the negotiation with Stitch. Okay, so what else that we can consider? We want them to be an informed management. Okay, so to explain to Rin, okay, that the due diligence is merely, okay, what do we do when we do due diligence? Yeah, what is our what is our actual role when we are doing due diligence? What is the objective? Due diligence is to uncover facts and what? Yeah. Yeah, verify the claims. Okay, so we want to explain this. Yeah, to explain to Rin that due diligence is a mere uncover facts not visible in the financial statement, and to substantiate the claims made by the vendor. Okay, so basically by Stitch. Okay, so the service. Okay, so to confirm, to confirm the service does not include, okay, so does not include confirming the synergy. Okay, synergy expected by Rin. Okay, so because they mentioned the reason they want to do this is because of synergy. So we tell to them, yeah, clearly all this. Another one that you can write is book and EQR. Okay, so to ensure the objectivity of the audit, okay, is not compromised. Okay, as a result of the due diligence prior to the acquisition of Stitch. Okay, now you look at it, yeah, you may think like, oh, do I write so much for this one particular situation? For threat, you will get 1 mark. For every single well explained safeguard or action, you will get 1 mark. Okay, so now this is considered as 1 mark. Okay, so I put it as 1 year. Okay, this is 1 mark. Okay, and then um yeah, the firm should carefully responsibility. Okay, so this is 1 mark, this is 1 mark, and this is 1 mark. Okay, so now in total here you can earn up to 4 marks. Okay, because for each safeguard that you put in or each action that you put in, you can get 1 mark. Okay, so now can I move on to the next point, or you have any questions to ask? Are you all okay, not?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now, okay, then we will move on to the other two. The other two is quite straightforward. Okay, so I want to do this question because it has combination of due diligence. So we can do revision together, yeah, in terms of what does due diligence and what type of threat will it create. Because you can get questions where there is ethical issue combined with non-audit services. Okay, now second one is attending meeting with the bankers. Okay, so attending meetings with the bankers. Okay, bankers. Hold on, yeah, I'll still put it in a table for you to see, but yeah, again, yeah, exam don't do that. Okay, so now first one. This is going to give rise to advocacy threat. We already discussed, yeah. So this will give rise to advocacy. Okay, advocacy threat. Okay, in that the bank may view the firm, okay, as advocating. Okay, so advocating and promoting. Okay, so promoting REIN interest. Okay, so that the financing. Okay, so the financing for the acquisition. Yeah, acquisition. Okay, so acquisition of stage be approved. Okay, so this will give rise to advocacy threat in that the bank may view the firm as advocating and promoting REIN interest so that the financing for the acquisition of stage can be approved. Okay, now whether there is any severity in it or not, is there severity that we can explain? We can explain it in this manner, yeah. Attending, okay. So attending the meeting with the bankers, okay. So with the bankers may also mm, okay, may also give rise, okay. So give, don't not rise, give impression, okay, impression to the bank, that the firm is guaranteeing the success. Okay, so guaranteeing the success of the investment. Okay, so this will give rise to legal proximity. Okay, so what is a legal proximity word? Legal proximity, you putting yourself in a situation where you can get sued. Okay, so legal proximity whereby the bank may sue the firm to recover, okay, recover of the loan in the event REIN default. Okay, So because you go and become like a representative like that, yeah. Okay. So now let's go and talk about what will be our safeguard to avoid this two situation to happen. Okay. So first is to ask Rin, okay, the reason why the firm is requested. Okay, so why the firm is requested to attend the meeting with the bank. Okay, so first ask, yeah, if the uh, purpose is to confirm. Okay, so to confirm suitability of the investment. Okay, so then the firm should decline. Okay, decline the request and explain and reason reason should be explained. Okay, so second one, now if however if the purpose is to answer, okay, answer questions regarding, okay, questions regarding the due diligence, then a member of the due diligence will be allowed to attend the meeting. Okay, but to make it clear, okay, so it is to make it clear to Rin that none of the audit team will be permitted to attend. Okay, so this is on attending the meeting with the bankers. Okay, now one more point, then I'll give you a break. Yeah, okay. So next one is on the fact that they are asking us to do things quickly. Okay, so first one, yeah, we want to talk about the threat. Okay, so the threat is intimidation. Okay, so this will give rise to intimidation. Okay, intimidation threat, and threat to professional competence and professional competence, yeah, professional competence and due care. Okay, so in that the review team, okay, so wait, yeah, let me just write an observation for this. Okay, hold on, yeah, the interim review to be completed quickly, and then the review team is given warning. Okay, so now this will give rise to intimidation threat and threat to professional competence and due care. In that, the review team may resort, okay, to cost cutting. To cutting professional corners. Okay, professional corners to the end that the quality of the review will be impacted. Okay, so that will be the threat. Now, do I have severity of it? I don't have. Okay, so because we don't have any details there, yeah, for to talk about severity. Now, don't have on severity, straight away on safeguard. Okay, so to explain to Rin that there are still still a few more procedures, okay, that need to be completed. And if the review report were to be signed now, okay, it will amount to limitation of scope. Okay, so just now you all have mentioned, yeah, you mentioned that uh, the method, if the management, okay, continue to persuade, okay, continue to give the threat, okay, so the matter should be communicated with those charged with governance. Okay, so if the management continue to continue to give the threat, the matter should be communicated with those charged with governance, and um to explain to them the impact of the matter to the review report. Okay, so now, yeah, this is what we can do for this question. Okay, so now anyone have any questions or not? If not, I want to give you a break. Then when we come back, we can continue. So anyone have any questions to ask? No question. No question now is 9:21. You can take do we have to mention and discuss all 3 points? No. Hold on, yeah. Which one? Yeah, you can. If you have. Okay. So yes, each of the safeguard which has been well explained and it is reasonable safeguard, you can get 1 mark. Okay. So like in this case, right, we put in 4, so you can get 4 marks for each of the safeguard, but you have to make sure you have explained it well and it's sufficient. Okay, but it is not necessary for you to put all 4, but if you have, you can, because in this case you have 8 marks. You see the balance here, we don't really have much things to discuss, so I have to, where I get to write more safeguards, I'll put it in, because like here, right, the most I can get only 2 marks. Okay, here is maybe about 3 marks or something, so 3, 2, 5, 4, 4 and 1. Okay, so it's about 10, but we are writing it more, yeah. Okay, so you only need to write for 8 points. Okay, so now when you come back, we will try one acceptance question. Okay, okay, so now take a break. Now is 9:23. Maybe you take up to 9 9:40. Okay, so I'll give you 15 minutes. But when you come back, we really need to do another question. Yeah. Okay, so but we'll do a acceptance question. This one I want you to try on your own. I'll give you an answer for this. We will do Crooks group after when you come back from the break. Yeah. And then Broadway you can do on your own and I'll upload the answer for you. Okay. So 9:40. Okay, come back. Anyone got questions to ask? You can just type it in. Yeah, I'm here. I tell which one, yeah? In the notes, is it? This one? Are you there?
Can you scroll down a bit? Number five.
Here. Here. Oh,
Yeah,
this one.
yeah. Can you out zoom a bit?
Zoom.
Out zoom,
Zoom.
zoom out.
Zoom out. Which part, yeah? The part that I wrote, is it?
Yes, yes. The part that
This
you
one.
wrote. Let's see. MJ, are you there?
Yes.
What is COI?
Conflict of interest.
Then can you scroll a bit down for another table down there
Next
for the
page.
PRR? Yeah, the next page. Professional clearance,
This.
down a bit more. This one I got pick up already. The
Mhm.
precondition, yep. Down a bit.
Oh, the precondition. But
Yes.
I
Okay,
should
thank
charge my
you.
pen. Okay. I hope you had good break. Let's continue, yeah. Okay. So now I have another question here on ethics part, okay, which is the brand Tractor Co. Okay. So this question I want you to, you all are back, right? Later I talking alone, yeah. Let me just see the index, okay. So this is the one that we were doing just now, okay. Benco, okay. So and this question I want you to do it on your own. Try. I'll give you the answer. Yeah. After the class, I'll upload it in the Timba Flex there. Okay. And Mumbai question is actually, yeah. Okay. BPP. Okay. Never mind. Later I'll put it in. Okay. So now we want to look at crooks. Okay. Crooks on acceptance. Assurance for social and environmental information. Okay, so let's go and look at the question. Yeah. So this one, please try on your own. Answer will be provided. Okay. So now look at Crook's group. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. This one, please do on your own first. Try on your own because it's very similar to Benko. Okay. So if you understood Benko, you should be able to apply the same technique to answer this. And there is one part is very similar answer to Benko also. Okay. So please do this question. Yeah. Now look at Crook's group. Okay. Okay. So now it is 1st July 20x5. You are a manager in the audit department of Pegasus and Co., a firm of chartered certified accountants. So you are assigned to audit the group, which has a financial year ending 30th September 20x5, and it is a listed entity. Okay, so it's a group of company and it is a listed company. Yeah, Pegasus Co. was appointed to be their auditor in January 20x5. So it is it is a new client. Okay, and the new client is also listed. Yeah, so the group operates in a travel industry, offering a selection of worldwide itineraries and has a fleet of 20 cruise ships. The group operates 3 brands which provide different type of cruise. Okay, so this is actually a question one. It's a huge question, but I extracted what is relevant for acceptance and ethics only. Okay, so during the meeting, evaluate the matter to be considered in deciding whether Pegasus Co. should accept the engagement to provide advice on the group social and environmental information. So they are asking us to evaluate methods to consider in deciding, yeah, whether to accept or not. Okay, so obviously they are asking us on non-audit services. Okay, so non-audit services, and this one is for your audit client. Okay, so if it is a non-audit services and it is for our audit client already, the points that I will be thinking about will be obviously is on competence. Do I have competence to provide this social and environmental information assurance, advice or not? Capabilities. Now that I'm doing the audit, yeah, can I actually can I provide the service in terms of am I capable of doing it? The size of the advice. Okay. Staff currently with the current commitments, and can I meet the deadline? Okay, so then I am going to also discuss about the ethical factor. Okay, so whether I have conflict of interest, it is more of unlikely. Okay, because of the fact that this is same client. Yeah, I am not conflict of interest is normally if we are providing or we are accepting a job which is competitors for our current client, or we having some internal benefit of doing it. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about conflict of interest here. I'll discuss about objectivity. Okay, so the fact that social and environmental information, okay, will it be published in audit report or not? Is it something that, all non-audit services, right? Majority of non-audit services is going to give rise to self-review threat. Okay. In this case, will the social and environmental information give rise to self-review threat? Do we see social and environmental information anywhere in the annual report? Hmm. A social and environmental information is going to be something in hello. Yeah, is it going to be part of your financial statement information? Not okay. So just in case, yeah, you are feeling confused, social and environmental information is some kind of KPI. Okay, so key performance indicators. Now, do we have key performance indicator information anywhere in the audit report? No idea? Don't have, isn't it? But where do we present these figures? Annual report.
Annual report.
Yes, yes, correct. Only in the annual report, but not in the audit report. Okay. So now correct. Yeah. So we might see this in the annual report. Okay. So if there is something that we are advising on is in the annual report, will it give rise to any kind of self-review threat or not? Self-review threat? Okay. Now you remember that we have responsibility as an auditor to read, okay, and then we supposed to read what? The other information. And for us to identify, yes, we supposed to read, okay. So we read the other information, and after we read the other information, what we need to do? We have to respond to it. Okay, we have to respond to it because we want to identify if there is any material inconsistency. Okay, now assuming I am the one who is advising them on the social and environmental information, there is likely that I might not perform this responsibility in detail. Okay, because I might, because there's no point I read other information because I already I'm the one who advised. So it might be a self-review threat, but it is on this perspective. Okay. So now, other than ethical issue, I am not going to talk about integrity because this client is already an audit client because I would have already done my integrity test. Okay. And I am not going to talk about pre-condition because this is it's a non-audit service. I don't need to discuss on Okay, sorry, yeah. I think it got disconnected. Okay, sorry. Okay, let me just continue. Where was I? Okay, so sorry, yeah, because I got disconnected. It was I'm not sure internet problem. Yeah, okay. So now coming back to this, okay. So now a meeting took place yesterday, in which the audit engagement partner discussed several issues. Okay, so the group audit committee has inquired whether the Pegasus Core can provide additional service. Okay, so additional service to advise management on how to measure certain social and environmental information, which is to be published in the group website and is required by the new regulation in the industry. Okay, so number one, I am not sure because they only say measure certain. So I don't know about the size of the social and environmental information that they want me to provide. Yeah. Secondly, which is going to be published in the group website. So it is likely going to be included in annual report also. And currently it's a requirement in a regulation in the industry. Okay. And it's required to be submitted to regulatory authorities. Okay. Now, are they providing assurance? Are they requesting us to provide assurance or advise them how to do?
Advice.
Yeah, advice only. So which
So,
means we are, yeah, yeah, yeah. You say first, yeah.
no, it's okay. Just continue.
No, yeah, because they are asking us to advise, right? So we might want to consider, is there any requirement for assurance, because it need to be submitted to regulatory authorities eventually. Okay, so the social and environmental information relate to matters such as, okay, so again, yeah, they are not making things clear. We don't know the size, yeah. So relate to matters such as water efficiency, energy consumption, charitable donation and initiatives which support diversity at workplace. But they did not, such as means is seperti only, yeah, okay, but not really like a full set of items. Okay, so it in recognition that this work is quite urgent, so which means I want to discuss this whether I can meet the deadline or not, as the deadline for submission to the regulatory authorities fall within the next month. Okay, so the audit committee has stated it is willing to pay an enhanced fee for this services. Okay, so enhanced fee means I want to think of, okay, now they're going to be paying me more. Is it going to exceed, like, is it going to be undue, not undue, is it going to be exceeding my total fee, like is it going to exceed the 15% or not? Okay, so that one is aside, but now important things to consider is whether I have the competence or not. Okay, but the fact that I have no clear guidance into what is actually they want, I am not sure whether I'm competent or not. Okay, so because they are only asking us to evaluate. Okay, evaluate means I want to consider the factors to discuss. Okay, I mean, consider the factors whether I want to accept or not. Okay, that is one. Number two, when you talk about capabilities, I'm not sure about the size. They have not talked about the scope of my work. Okay, and then availability of the staff, we can discuss that in another point. And they also mentioned it's quite urgent. They say the deadline is next month, and I don't know whether once I advise whether they need to go through any assurance process or not. So if it does, then I have to do it even more faster, because I have to do it faster to advise, and then they have to go through assurance stage, and then they need to go and submit it. So all these need to happen in next month. So it is quite a tight deadline. Okay, so these are the things that we want to discuss, and the fact that they're going to put it in the group website, we can talk about the information part and self-review thread. And what are the points that we can talk about here? Okay, the fees. We can also talk about the fees. Okay, so we have to write for 10 marks. So now, because we have very limited time, let's go and do it quickly. Okay, so now let's go and look at the crooks. Okay, so yeah, why I cannot scroll. Okay. Okay, so crooks group. Okay, so this is part C of the question. Okay, so now let's go and talk about the first one, yeah, competence. Okay, so first of all, we want to say, yeah, crooks requested, okay, requested Pegasus to advise on how to measure, okay, so how to measure certain social and environmental indicators. Okay, so which is actually the KPIs, yeah. Okay, so now some of this indicators. Okay, so some of these indicators may be specialized. Okay, specialized and difficult to be measured. Okay, so difficult to be measured, difficult to measure. Yeah, okay. So the firm um, may not have the required skills. Okay, may not have the required skills, and we want to say about the ACCA code. Okay, so ACCA code states that. Okay, so state that an assignment should not be accepted. Okay, so should not be accepted if the firm does not have the required skills. Okay, so we also want to say the firm may need to engage, okay, with external, maybe, yeah, we're not sure, external expert, if there is, sorry, if there is lack of skills. Okay, so to confirm, okay, why I want to put on the confirm, right? Because we also need to tell, like, I'm evaluating the matter, right? So I should also say, like, okay, now that I am considering this factor, okay, what are my additional information that I want? Okay, so to confirm, okay, so to confirm the specific, okay, so specific types of KPIs required by the regulation. Okay, so because they are doing it also for the regulation, yeah, regulation for the cruise industry. I'm sorry, yeah. Today I think my connection is bad. I'm not sure. Can I just do until 11 o'clock if you all don't mind? Is it okay? Because I want to replace all this in and out things. Can okay. Okay, sorry, yeah. So I'll continue. Okay, I don't know. I normally I'm using time, but shouldn't have problem. But now I connect with my own phone one, yeah. Okay, so now I was talking about competence, right? Now let's move on to capabilities. Okay, capabilities, remember we want to talk about three things, right? Whether the size of it, the availability of staff, and also the deadline. Okay, so now let's go and talk about the deadline because that's the most obvious one in this situation. Yeah, so KPIs. Okay, so the KPIs to be submitted to regulators. Okay, so to the regulators in August. Okay, so now it is 1st July. Okay, and the KPIs must be measured. Okay, must be measured quickly. Okay, so must be measured quickly. Deciding on how to measure. Okay, so deciding on how to measure the KPI. Okay, maybe some are not straightforward. Okay, maybe, yeah, we are not sure. Maybe some are not straightforward. And because, okay, and because of that, it may take longer time. Okay, so, and for the fact, yeah, for the fact that there is no international standards for it. Standard for measuring them. This makes the engagement work. Okay, so like a little bit not very clear for us, yeah. Okay, so now what we need to do is to confirm with crooks. Okay, so we want to confirm with crooks how many, okay, so how many KPIs are required by the new regulation. Okay, so what is required by the new regulation? More KPIs means the engagement will take up more time. Okay, so what we need to do is to find out from crooks. Okay, so we'll find out from crooks whether the regulators, okay, okay. So the regulators requires the KPIs, okay, be accompanied by assurance. Okay, so by assurance report and so that sorry, and if so, who will provide the assurance? Okay, so we want to find out all this because they are asking us to discuss on methods to consider. Okay, so now to consider whether the firm has have staff to spare for this engagement. without jeopardizing, okay, so the firm's ability to meet the obligation of the current client. Okay, so basically we are talking about the fact that can we meet the we don't know the size, okay, so because we don't know how to measure, we don't know the size of it, but we know it is going to take up more time, okay, so we want to know whether we can meet the deadline or not, and whether we have the availability of the staff. Okay, so now we need to consider more KPI means more engagement. The engagement will take more time, and the firm to confirm. Okay, if the deadline mentioned, okay, can be met. Okay, so these are on capabilities. Okay, now once we have discussed about capabilities, we can go and discuss on ethical issues. Okay, so on ethical issues, the main one is two things. Okay, one is self-review threat. Second one is they are asking us to advise. So whenever they ask us to advise, we want to worry that can it cause us or can it create a management decision threat or not? Okay, so now let's go and talk about the ethical issue. Yeah, the assignment is to provide advice. Okay, so advice on how to measure certain certain KPIs. Okay, so this is how to measure certain KPI. It is likely that crooks does not have in-house staff, okay, with the required competence to do this, okay, because it's a new regulation, okay, unlikely they're going to have experts very fast, okay, so then potentially management decision threat, okay, so management decision threat in that, okay, in that crooks may take, okay, may take all the advice and use it without any input, okay, so whether without their own contributions, yeah, without any input on their own, okay, so this is very dangerous, yeah, and therefore sim therefore it will be seemed as the firm has made the decision, okay, on behalf of crooks, okay, so on behalf of crooks, yeah, and firm should make should not, okay, make any decision on behalf of the client, okay, so ideally we have to consider this fact, okay, so what we should do, our safeguard for this is the firm should document, okay, so we have mentioned this before, yeah, okay, so document the existence of informed management, okay, so you must have informed management to overseas, okay, so to oversee work by, so informed by oversee work by the firm and evaluate the recommendation to ensure they comply with the new regulation. Okay, so basically I'm telling that now that they're asking me to provide advice and I don't think they have enough staff, so it's going to potentially increase the risk that I am going to make a management decision threat. Okay, so it's probably they just take everything that I say, so which is not good. Okay, so I mean, not to say not good, which is going to be a threat for us. Yeah. So what we're going to do as a safeguard is we want to say we want to document the existence of informed management. So which means I ask them to sign and say that you are aware that I am only advising. I am not doing the management decision. You going to make the decision. I am only going to, like, tell to you, oh, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this will happen. I am not the boss. Okay, so I want to tell that, and that will be my safeguard. Okay, now second one is on the self-review thread. Okay, so the KPIs. Okay, so the KPIs will be published. Okay, will be published in the group website. Okay, so they're going to publish this in the group website and being listed. Okay, so being listed, crooks may include this. Okay, sorry, may include this same KPIs. Okay, so same KPIs in its annual report. Okay, so now it's getting dangerous already. Okay, so self review. This will, sorry, this will give rise to self-review thread. Okay. So why I want to say it's a self-review thread? Because it's a other information. Okay. So self-review thread at the final audit stage. Okay. So as yeah, I want to put that in that. Wait. In that, yeah. So in that, in that the firm is unlikely. Okay, so unlikely to be critical or skeptical. Okay, over the KPIs. Okay, so over the KPIs that the other team have helped to measure. Okay, other team means other team in the firm. Okay, so firm to confirm. Okay, so firm to confirm whether this KPIs, okay, so whether these KPIs will also be published in the annual report. Okay, so to ask, yeah. So when if they say yes, the auditor is responsible to read, respond, three area to read, respond, and report. Okay, on other information. Okay, so because of that factor, yeah, because crooks is listed, okay, and also because of quality risk. Okay, so why I want to say quality risk is because if KPI, if KPIs uh, are included, okay, so are included in the annual report. Okay, so an engagement quality reviewer, okay, reviewer should be booked. Okay, should be booked to ensure that the auditing, okay, so ensure that the audit team have properly, okay, have properly read the annual report to identify, okay, so to identify whether whether, okay, whether there are inconsistencies, okay, or misleading, okay, misleading information in, okay, information in the KPIs. Okay, so that is on ethical issue. Okay, one last point on commercial consideration. Okay, commercial considerations. Yeah, okay, that's on the fees. Okay, so the requirement. Okay, so the requirement for the engagement. Yeah, so the requirement for the engagement is because Crooks is subjected to industry regulation. Okay, so industry regulation, and uh, that is why there is KPIs. Okay, KPIs. Okay, so KPIs need to be measured. Okay, so there is a possibility. Okay, so there is possibility that if Pegasus, okay, Pegasus is unable to provide the service, okay, as it is currently urgent, okay, probably what will they do? Yeah, they are in need. Okay, so they go and ask us to help them out because we are the auditor and we probably can do the KPI service, okay, and advise them. Now if it is urgent, right, and if you don't want to help them when they are in need, okay, what do you think they will do from commercial perspective? Anybody want to tell to me? Yeah, if someone is asking you for help when they are in need, yeah, and you don't want to help them, what will happen to your relationship with them? Hmm, nothing will happen, is it? Yeah, yes, yeah, the relationship will be broken. So in audit firm perspective, what will happen? Probably the audit engagement. Okay, so on the other hand, yeah, audit engagement with Pegasus will be terminated. Okay, I'll rather go and find an auditor who will help me on this service and also will provide me audit services, like they might do that. Yeah, so that's a possibilities. Okay, so due to that reason to consider, if it is if it is profitable, okay, if it's profitable for the firm to provide, okay, so to provide the service, and only accept the engagement if there is reasonable fee and the firm can have continuous service opportunity. So we have discussed about, okay, let me just, okay, maybe you can type it out first and I'll tell to you, yeah. Okay, so now let's just run through. Okay, so we had this competence that we discussed on. Okay, and then we had this capabilities that we discussed on. Okay, and then on ethical issue, and finally, which is on the commercial consideration. Okay, so how you will get marked, you want to know, yeah. Okay, so for competence, right, you in the answer here we discuss about the fact that we have to consider how to measure it. Okay, and we mentioned that ACCA code said it should not accept it if the firm does not have the required skill. Okay, so this is about 1 mark. So the firm may need to engage with the external expert if there is a lack of skills and to confirm, yeah. So this point here, it's about 2 marks that you will be able to earn because you are doing some evaluation. Okay. Now, next one. On capabilities is actually you mentioned, I mean, like here it's mentioned about how to measure, about the deadline, and also about the staff. Okay, so approximately it's also about 2 marks or so. Okay, so ethics is definitely about okay, here is we mention about management decision, potential management decision, threat. Okay, so that this two is about 4 to 5 marks. Okay, so now ethical threat is management decision. For you to mention it, it's already 1 mark. Okay, so for you to suggest a safeguard, this is another 1 mark. Okay, and then you mention and then when we mention about self-review threat, that's 1 mark. Okay, and also mentioning about the issue with it, right? Okay, so this is also another 1 mark. Okay, because you want to suggest to book a EQR. Okay, so about 7 marks there. Okay, wait, not seven. It's about 9 marks already. So we have left with one more point, and we can put a commercial consideration fact. Okay, so now anyone have any question on Crook's group or not? No? If don't have, I want to go and look into the next topic already. Okay, so now let me just glance through with you. Okay, so we have already done the Benko in the class just now, the crooks also we have done. So I will provide you with the answer for Mumbai, tractor, and also the Broadway. Okay, now I want you to look at fraud. Okay, so there is another document for fraud. Can you go and take it out? We will go and run through on fraud. Are you all okay so far? Fraud. Okay, we'll see how fast we can cover a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so now look at fraud. Okay, right? There are quite a number of you, and then you all are not responding. Next class, I go and ask
Okay.
questions. Okay, is it? Okay, okay. Okay, now let's go and look at fraud. Okay, so fraud questions can be examined in your section, can be examined in your section A, can be examined in your section B of the question also. Okay, so fraud, it's considered as you can have technique to answer it. Yeah. Okay, so now let me just go through with you what are the techniques that is suitable for you to apply. Hold on. Yeah, it's my fraud. Okay, never mind. Okay, now let's go and see the rationale behind this type of question. Okay, so when you talk about fraud, you already know fraud is can be done by, okay, can be by the management, can be by the employee also. Okay, so now when you think of why what they are looking out for us, or what's the rationale of asking this type of question in the exam, is that they want you to be able to identify, okay, identify about the fraud. Okay, identify this is a fraud, or identify the possibilities of a fraud in a case. Okay, and once you have identified, how you should respond to it. Okay, so how you want to respond to it. And there is also possibilities of fraud is asking you what is the limitation of fraud. Okay, so now when I talk about respond, right, probably it's in the form of procedures. They may ask you on procedures. Okay, now how do you know it is a fraud question? In most of the time, they make it very clear. They'll make it clear that the fraud is already been discovered, is the either by the client or by the auditor. Okay, now the way that you want to answer, do you have responsibility in terms of um prevention of fraud as an auditor? Do you have responsibility to prevent fraud?
No, it lies with the management.
Yes, correct. Okay, so this one we cannot involve. Yeah, I mean, like, how we want to do, we come in to audit, it's already happened, so how can we take up the prevention role? Can we take up I mean, are we in the role of deterrence? Okay, are we good? Can we deter the uh what is this? Deter the fraud from happening. Deterrence means, can you like stop it from happening? Now, prevention is like you have pin code and so on. Yeah. Deterrence is like having a CCTV camera. Okay. So having a CCTV camera is not going to stop you from doing it. But like if I have a pin code, you definitely cannot get into it. So that's prevention. Deterrence is like a CCTV camera. If I know I have a if I know there is a CCTV camera, I don't dare to do it. Okay. So can an auditor take up a deterrence role? Can we do the deterrence
No.
role? Okay. So we can't also, because we are at the post stage again. Yeah. Okay. We are always in the historical part. But you have to remember, yeah, that audit itself, the audit, the service that they are providing itself can be a form of deterrence. Okay, the audit, but not the auditor's responsibility. Okay, so can we involve in detection? Yes, but we have what type of responsibility? We only have secondary responsibility. Who have the primary responsibility to identify fraud? Who have the primary responsibility?
Management.
Yes, management is the one who's supposed to identify the fraud. Okay. So now, how do we identify the fraud, or how can we detect the fraud? By just doing secondary responsibility. Okay. So first of all, as part of audit, we are going to do risk assessment procedure. We try to look out for any fraud risk or not. Okay. What is a fraud risk? We look out for, is there any pressure, any opportunity, any rationalization for someone to commit the fraud? Okay. Number one, perform risk assessment procedure. Then we're going to design appropriate audit procedures. Okay. So, wait, yeah. Okay. So you want to design a audit procedure which is relevant. Yeah. Okay. So now let's say I doubt there is a fraud in purchases. Okay. So I doubt there is a what is this, fraud in purchases. So make sure that I have to look out for the relevant documents. Okay. So I think there is fictitious purchases is made which is not for the company. So what I'll do is I'll look out for the relevant purchase invoice. Okay. So I'll see the address of the supplier. I look out for whether there is any purchase order have been done by the company or not. Now, if we have recognized purchases, mean there should be the goods receipt notes. So I have to do an appropriate audit procedure to look out for evidence for the fraud. Okay. So now that's the second part of doing it, so that you can fulfill the responsibility. Okay. Third one is always exercise professional skepticism. Look out for, is there any, okay, so what is professional skepticism? Professional skepticism means that you always want to exercise questioning. You always have a questioning mind. You are always being be alert. Okay. And third one is that at all time you are going to perform critical assessment. Okay. So basically the auditor must have the extra eye. Yeah. They cannot be like a normal person. They have to always be more aware, more and like we watch sometimes police movies, right? We cannot think of it, but the police will think of. Okay. So we auditor have to be something like that. They should think um way better than the one who's committing the fraud. Okay. Then only you can identify. Okay. And apart from being skeptical, apart from coming up with the appropriate audit procedures, at all time you come back to your audit team members, do a discussion. Okay. Because sometimes the manipulation can be only identified when there is a discussion happen. Because in an audit team, right, you don't do all the items in one go. Okay, like as in you don't do everything in the financial statement, all the item. There'll be a junior who's doing certain part of the accounts, and then you have another senior who's doing another part of the account. So you have to come back as in audit team members, make some discussion. Maybe out of the discussion, the person could also highlight, hey, yeah, I suspected this. Or you also think so. Okay, so something like that. You must always have discussion. And the fifth one is obtain written representation from management telling that they have disclosed all the fraud that they are aware of. Okay, so this is for you to identify the risk. Okay, because you have a detection role, which is a secondary responsibility. Okay, now the reason why it is your secondary responsibility is because when you give your opinion, right, your opinion is financial statement is free from material misstatement and due to fraud and error. Okay, so basically you are giving some reasonable assurance, isn't it, that it is free from material misstatement due to fraud and error. So obviously in your process you have to obtain that level of assurance, and to obtain that assurance you have to perform all the items that is mentioned here. Okay, now assuming you have already identified it now. Okay, so you have to do CCIC. Okay, so what is CCIC means, right? The action when the fraud is already found. Okay, number one, you're supposed to confirm it. Okay, confirm it. Yeah, you saw that and you want to really confirm it, make it a strong one. Okay, so for example, you increase the sample size. Okay, so you have to confirm it. Now second one is that you have to go and communicate it. Okay, so who do I communicate to when I found fraud? Who do I tell to you? Tell, yeah? Do I go and tell to my who?
The one charged with the governance.
Yeah, the first one that we will tell, depending on who did it. Yeah, if let's say it's employee, I will go and tell management first. Okay, so tell to the management first if it's done by employee. But if it's committed by management, then you go and tell to those charged with governance. If let's say it's no, it's not done by those charged with governance. Yeah, okay, so now once we communicate to management and those charged with governance, there is something else that we need to do. We will need to include this matter in our management letter. Okay, because the reason why this fraud is happening, because there is a deficiency in internal control. Okay, a fraud can happen because it's the deficiency in internal control. He had the opportunity to do it. He had the like the internal control allowed him to commit it. So which means it need to be included in management letter as an internal control deficiency. Okay, so when you communicate to management, those charged with governance, and in the management letter. Okay, then you want to consider about what will be the implication to audit report. Okay, because there is a fraud, isn't it? So you want to consider whether there is a need for you to modify the audit report. Is there any need for you to provide an adverse audit report? Okay, so consider about what is the implication to the audit report. Okay, and also let's say, yeah, those charged with governance don't want to act on it. Okay, so you may want to consider about what is wrong with these people. Okay, the integrity of the client. Okay, and if let's say you already found the fraud and they don't want to make changes, go and obtain written representation on their intent. Okay, on their intention that they don't want to change it. Okay, now finally on the continuance. Okay, so you found out that item and you have reported it and they don't react to it. You may want to save yourself and not continue with the job. Okay, because you what you saw could be just 1%. There are 99% of item that is not being identified, and now those charged with governance is supporting this situation. Okay, so you may want to consider about continuance, and okay, you may decide on continuance based on the integrity. Okay, integrity of the client. Okay, so your action when you have found a fraud is CCIC. Okay, so we still have a little bit time. Let's go and try one question. Okay, so this is a Goodman group. Okay, so let's go and do this question. Yeah, very quickly. Okay, so hope you all are not tired yet. Yeah. Okay, so this is a 6 marks question. Discuss the implication of fraud for the completion of audit and the action to be taken by the auditor. Okay, so we're supposed to discuss the implication of fraud to the completion of audit and the action that need to be taken by the auditor. Okay, so let's go and look at, we need 6 marks. Yeah. Okay, now let's go and look at the question. Okay, so it is 1st July 20x5. You work in an audit department of Shaul and Co. So the Goodman Group is an audit client of your firm, and the audit for the financial year ended 31st December 20x4 is in the completion stage. Okay, so the group which is not listed install and maintain security system for businesses and residential customers. So basically what is their service? They actually go and install the, like the alarm system and all those things for businesses and also residential customers. Okay, now materiality for the audit of the group financial statement have been determined to be 400. Okay, so they have determined the materiality level. Yeah, you are reviewing the audit working paper and have gathered the following information. Okay, so the group finance director has informed the audit team that during the year, a fraud have been carried out by a manager, Mike Trout. Okay, so who's telling? Finance director is telling to you. So who's done it is a employee. Okay, so in one of the group procurement department, so the manager had raised fictitious supplier invoices and paid the invoice amount into his personal account. Okay, so see what he has done. He raised fictitious supplier invoices, so purchases. Yeah, he made purchases and paid this amount for these invoices to his own personal account. Okay, when questioned by the group finance director, Mike Trout, yeah, Trout. Okay, so he confessed that he had stolen 40,000 from the group. Okay, so now who's telling this? The Panchuri itself telling, yeah. He confessed he has stolen 40,000. Okay, so finance director asked the audit team not to perform any procedure in relation to the fraud because the amount is immaterial. Okay, so it's very funny. I suspected something is wrong. Would I go to the auditor and say, hey, don't do anything about it? Hey, ignore. It doesn't sound right, isn't it? Okay, so what do you think, yeah? For a finance director to say ignore it, what could happen? Hmm. No, you don't have any point about it. Now, yeah, correct. Possible, yes, correct. It could be more than 40,000. It could be he is the one, the main character. We see so many movies until we have to supposed to suspect every single individual. Yeah, okay. So we don't know, yeah. How come you can accept it that the Panchuri come and tell I take 40,000? Okay. How to believe, yeah. Okay. So he also stated that the financial statement would not be adjusted in relation to the fraud. Yeah. Make things worse. He don't want to adjust. Okay, so something very fishy about it. Yeah, he doesn't want to adjust. Okay, and the only audit evidence in the file is a written representation from management acknowledging the existence of fraud and list of fictitious invoices that have been raised by manager. Okay, so provided by finance director. Okay, so the audit working paper concluded that fraud is immaterial and no further work is needed. So whoever who have done this audit is also not right, yeah, because he go and conclude it as like a shortcut like that. He doesn't want to do any other further work. So this is totally wrong. Okay, now let's go and discuss what are the things that we need to do. Okay, so I'll just continue in the page that I was doing just now so that I can just give you the answer later. Yeah. Now, This is on a Goodman group. Okay, this is on fraud. Let's do this as a last question for today. Okay, so Goodman group. Okay, so they are asking us to discuss on what are the further things that need to be done. Okay, so what are the implication of this fraud and also what will be the action to be taken by the auditor. Okay, so now the question is, are they asking me to identify or the fraud is already been identified? Yeah, the fraud is already been, okay, so fraud is already been identified, isn't it? Sorry, yeah, very hot. Okay, so already been identified. So if it's already been identified, then we are going to confirm it. Okay, then we're going to communicate it. Okay, then we're going to look into what is the implication to audit report. Okay, and then we want to consider whether we want to continue with this client or not. Something is wrong. The finance director is continuance. Okay, so these are the things that we want to discuss. Okay, now the fact that it is 6 marks, we'll see which is relevant and which is irrelevant. Yeah, okay, so let's go and confirm first. Okay, now the audit team. Okay, so the audit team have merely, okay, so merely obtained, okay, obtained the written representation, okay, from management acknowledging, okay, acknowledging the existence of the fraud, okay, with the list of fictitious, fictitious invoices, okay, so invoices are stating that fraud is immaterial. Okay, so this is my observation about the issue. Yeah, so I have to talk about this is not right. Okay, because how can you just say it is immaterial when you don't have any evidence to it? Okay, who is telling you 40,000? The person who have done it. Okay, so you are trusting someone who is actually panchuri. Yeah, okay, so now you want to say this is insufficient. Okay, insufficient. Okay, and we want to comment, yeah, on its own. Okay, the auditor would not know, okay, the extent of the fraud. Okay, so you will not know the extent of the fraud and whether it is material or not. Okay, so the actual fraud uh, could be more than, okay, more than 40,000. Okay, so this one is I have to confirm it. Okay, so now next one, I want to go and communicate. Okay, um, uh, okay. Let me just add on a little bit. Okay, because I want to tell what need to be done. Yeah, because they ask us to do. Okay, so the auditor need to perform further procedure, okay, to for example, okay, testing on samples, okay, of the purchases, okay, to to identify, okay, if there is any other items, okay, um, item involving the fraud, okay, involving the fraud, think that should be fine. Okay. So now let's go and look at continuance. Communication. Okay. So do I need to communicate to the management? Do I need to? I communicate already. No need. Yeah. So now I want to communicate to those charged with governance. I don't need to communicate to management already because he already aware about it. Okay. So I'll go in and communicate with those charged with governance. Okay. So I to inform those charged with governance, okay, about the 40,000 fraud in the purchasing. Okay, so in the purchasing, to help them to understand the seriousness. Okay, so understand the seriousness of the issue. Ask what will be their plan. Okay, so what will be their plan to rectify the situation? Okay, and ask them to conduct. Okay, so ask them to conduct their own investigation. Okay, investigation and ascertain the financial impact of the fraud. Okay, so now these are the keywords. Yeah, we want to highlight. These are all things that you can use. Yeah, standardized sentence when you communicate with those charged with governance. Yeah, okay. So you want them to understand the seriousness of the issue. You want them to rectify the situation. You want to ask them to conduct their own investigation and also ascertain the financial impact of the fraud. Okay, so these are all keywords. Okay, now apart from communicating with those charged with governance, we will need to communicate to them in the form of management letter because this is a significant deficiency. Okay, so this is a significant deficiency. Okay, so this is a significant deficiency. The management letter should be sent to management. Okay, so should be sent to management and those charged with governance. Yeah, those charged with governance. With governance. Okay, so charged with governance and the letter, okay, should explain the internal control deficiency. Okay, so deficiency and to warn that this could happen in other companies in the group. Okay, because this is a group of companies, so probably now group happen means probably the other subsidiaries also will have it. Okay, so could happen in other other companies in the group and discuss about the implication. Okay, so implication of the deficiency. Okay, deficiency and the recommendation to improve. Okay, so recommendation to improve the internal control should also be included in the management letter. Okay, so this one is also a standardized answer when it comes to management letter. Okay, so you have to explain what is the internal control deficiency and you have to talk about what is the implication of the deficiency and recommendation. Okay, so these are the keywords for management letter. Okay, so now once done with communicate, right, we want to talk about implication to the audit report. Okay, so implication to the audit report is for me is it's even more serious matter here because the finance director. Okay, so the finance director asked the team. Okay, so asked the team not to investigate. Okay, so not to investigate the fraud. Okay, so which is very odd. Yeah, so this is odd. Okay, so the finance director should be the one interested. Okay, because it is his office, yeah, these things is happening. Okay, so someone is fooling him and he chooses to ignore, doesn't make sense. Okay, so the FD should be the one who's interested to find out. Okay, so to find out if the fraud is being done elsewhere. Okay, elsewhere in the procurement. Okay, in the procurement department. Okay, so seeing that the internal control, okay, in one of the procurement, okay, so procurement departments should be similar to the internal control in another company, okay, in the group. Okay, so now yeah, where is this? Okay, so this one is all funny, yeah. You don't want to do it. Okay, so we want to say the FD may be may be complicit, okay, in the person complot, yeah, in the fraud. Okay, so the fraud may be more than 40,000. Okay, so maybe more than 40,000, and the purchases. Okay, so the purchases may be overstated. Okay, so the management integrity. Okay, so the management integrity may be in doubt. Yeah. Okay, so I doubt the management integrity, and then the audit team should be careful. Okay, so should be careful to evaluate the evidence. Okay, so evidence are provided by the FD. Okay, so including the reliability of written representation. Okay, so now you see, like, if the person is having lack of integrity, right? Whatever that they previously provided, for example, like written representation, all is from their word, right? We may need to doubt it already. Okay, last one on the continuance of the report. Okay, so if the those charged with governance, okay, cite the FD. Okay, so also tell and only ignore, it's immaterial, all right, and refuse to lift the management imposed limitation. Okay, because it's stopping me to do further job, right? Okay, so refuse to lift the management imposed limitation. The firm should consider, okay, should I have, because it's already halfway, we will tell that you should complete this audit, okay, and consider, okay, that seriously whether they should, okay, whether they should offer themselves for reappointment. Okay, so whether reappointment for the following year. Okay, so need to consider it. Okay, so that is all for the 6 marks that you will need to write for the um what is this? The further action that need to be taken for this fraud case. Okay, so looking at the question again, yeah, implication of the fraud and also action to be taken. Okay, so these are all the implication. Because of this, I'm going to do more procedures. Okay, I'm going to communicate it. That's my action. Okay, and then my implication or to the audit report is all the things that we discuss here, and the implication of this is probably I need to discuss about or consider about to get reappointed or not. Okay, so that is all that I think we'll do today. Okay, so what I will do is I have already discussed with you. Hold on, yeah, that's a question. Yes, I will upload it. I'll put it as day one answer. Okay. But I give me time. I want to put in the other answers. Okay. So I will combine it in one folder for all the other answers that I asked you to do. And you can refer to that. Yeah. Okay. So you have one question for the ethics. And then another question on acceptance. Okay. Fraud, I only wanted to discuss this one question. Okay. So now when you come back on Saturday, we'll start with NOCLA. Okay, so we have NOCLA, money laundering, professional skepticism, and then we are done with this notes. Then we will go and look into the next part. Okay, so for Saturday, let me just tell to you upfront so that you will be more prepared. Yeah. Okay, so for Saturday, we will start off with this part of the syllabus. Okay, business risk, audit risk. Okay, I wanted to do the long question one, yeah, Hammer Co and Nco. These two questions I want to do. The other two I'll give you answers. Okay, so now I'm going to do part one for Saturday. Okay, because it's a longer section. Session we can do this, including the balance that we haven't covered for today, the NOCLA and the money laundering and so on. Okay, so part one and the balance there is on Saturday. Okay, so I've uploaded notes. Yeah, there is notes for business risk, there is notes for risk of material misstatement. Hammerco and Enco, I will upload the questions because it's not in BPP, it's in the practice platform. New questions, this one. Okay, that's all for today.
Right. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Bye bye. Have a good night. Welcome.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome. Bye bye.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome.